Start.
Okay. Hi, everybody. Welcome to our panel. We're going to be talking about dressing as a Ghostbuster, some of the uniforms, some of the equipment, and we'll be taking a lot of questions towards the end. But as always, feel free to ask as we go. We're going to start a little bit about ourselves. We're going to talk about our group. We're going to talk about ourselves, and then we'll get into the uniform, and we'll go from there. We're the Ontario Ghostbusters, as if you didn't know. We are a non-profit group. We are raising charity funds, and we're also looking this awesome. And because we look this awesome, they asked us to do a panel, and we said, okay. So my name's Briley Lapine. I've been with the group about 4 years now. I'm one of the executive members. Coming up on my right here is Michael Tagani. He's also one of the executive members, and he's going to be looking good off to my right.
Thank you.
Off to my left is Cameron Shaver. He is one of our top spokesmen, and he's going to be looking good off to my left. There you go. Do we have any questions to start? Something you absolutely have to know before we get going? Anybody? No? Okay, hopeful.
Oh, look at that keen. I love that.
Hey,
in there.
always.
Have you ever made like one of those things with a big red button on it?
In fact, I've often said, if I could make something that just had flashing lights and a buzzer and a big red button, people would starve to death in front of it. Just because they'd press the button over and over and over again. If you've ever seen those wall of radios at like Canadian Tire where you select the radio and the amp and the speakers, there's always a crowd in front of it, and they always look a little malnourished. So I've avoided doing that just because, for safety's sake, really. I'm thinking of the general populace. But yeah, there's actually a couple of red buttons on it, and they see the most use easily. All right, any other questions? All right, Mr. Shaver?
Perfect. Thank you.
Take it away.
Now, I come at the whole Ghostbuster and costuming and cosplaying from a little bit of a different perspective than Mike and Briley do. These two gentlemen are fantastic and highly skilled master builders. I do not possess any of those skills.
Shut up.
So what I'm going to kind of bring you through my decision to become a Ghostbuster and how I did that from the perspective of someone who can't build anything. And then Mike and Briley are going to jump in after me and give you the perspective of somebody who can build things and give you some more kind of tips on there. So depending on where your skill level is at and your comfort level is at, hopefully we'll be able to cover it all here. So we're going to talk a little bit about the uniform. In order to go through that, the best way to do that is to kind of really show you and experience it. So now you right off the bat were very keen to ask some questions. Would you maybe like to come on up with us right here and get suited up like a Ghostbuster to help us demonstrate? Sure. Is that a yes?
I think that's a yes.
All right, come on over. Okay, and what is your name?
Mara?
Mara, nice to meet you. Thank you for being voluntold. Okay, I need you to come on over here. So, any basic uniform is going to start with one of the most simple underlying parts, and that's going to be the flight suit, the jumpsuit here. So we have some basic things on there. We have the name patch here. There's a slight variation on the name patch between Ghostbusters 1 and Ghostbusters 2. We have the GP2 suits there, the blue. We're going to go with the iconic khaki. We have the logos on there as well on the shoulder. These, you can get them from a variety of different places. GhostbusterFans.com sells them. In Canada, Army Navy Surplus.
Yeah. ArmyNavyDeals.ca.
ArmyNavyDeals.ca is a fantastic place to go as well. We're going to throw a bunch of things out there, a bunch of terms. What the heck is a belt gizmo? I can't remember what that is. If you go to our website after, we have a list of kind of a lot of these things, and we can give you lots of recommendations of where to get those stuff as well. So I'm going to get you to jump into the jumpsuit there. Your feet should be able to fit through in those shoes. So we have the flight suit, which is an actual aviation flight suit. So it is reasonably standard. You might luck out and find a similar one at a Army surplus store, but that's not always there. Perfect. And we're zipping you up. There we go. So there's the basics. And so it was Mara. Okay, Mara was going to the thing. We have standards here. Standards. You gotta look good here.
Good God, fold that collar over.
Yeah. All right.
Your shoes.
So now the next thing, which we're gonna just kind of skip over this, but we have the boots, the army boots. These are fantastic army surplus. The actual ones that they wear do have a zipper down the side, and I believe those are paratrooper boots.
Yep.
Officially. So these are fine. We're not gonna be sticklers. Oh, you don't got a zipper. Get out of there. You know, that's no good. We're not gonna, that sort of thing. So you have the boots. Army surplus store for those. The next thing we're going to look at here is the belt. So we have a pistol belt here. Again, GhostbustersFans.com, Army Navy surplus. I got mine from Amazon. I got mine off of Amazon. Then it recommended all these holsters and guns to buy. So you want to have the belt here. Again, a little bit of a different color for GB2 there. On it, you want to start out with just some basic leather key fobs and whatnot. And those are available on different Ghostbuster sites, eBay, things like that. Very cheap, very inexpensive. We're not too expensive quite yet. You know, between all of this with the flight suit, we're kind of around $100 or so. Somewhere in that neighborhood, depending on what you get the patches for. So now, I'm going to tighten this up a little bit for you, just so you can see, make sure it fits quite well. And just before I do strap it on, I do have a couple other items on there I just want to talk about just real quick. We have, this is just a holster for the trap, which these two gentlemen will be talking about momentarily. And we have this doodad here, which is officially called the belt gizmo. Because nobody really knows what it does. So we have a motherboard, which connects to the daughter board there. This is just the guts of an old calculator. They just ripped up, and we like have to display the numbers there and stuff like that. So those things are on there, and it was difficult to take them off. So we'll get you to strap that on there. I'll bring it around. You can just latch it together.
What's your question, sir?
Was the calculator thing actually in the movie, or did you guys just come up with that as an
No,
idea?
all the things we're going to show you are actually from the movie. We don't have our original ideas on there. And where's the, there's no connector for that. Usually,
all right, then we're going to do the Egon thing, and we'll loop it up in the back.
So we have the leg hose. And as far as I'm concerned, so I'm just going to straighten that up right there. As far as I'm concerned, that's the only real costuming misstep for Ghostbusters, is that they made that hose yellow. So it appears as some form of catheter.
Sometimes I have bad dreams.
Officially, this gets you to turn around here. Most people just wear it snapped into the back there. There's one scene in Ghostbusters where you see them leaning over, and it does look like it's going into the back. Again, this is one of those things that it looks fantastic, but poses no really specifically obvious purpose. All right, so right here we have a pretty not too bad cosplay so far. Another thing we're going to. How does that feel so far? Do you feel fantastic? Looking good, maybe a little big, but it's okay. Feels right, Caroline. Next up, we have some elbow pads, which are actually knee pads. You can go to gbfans.com and they actually did some replica ones of them. They made themselves. Those ones, you got it. So when you get them, these are volleyball knee pads. This is what I bought. Bought them off of Amazon. That's how I went. Volleyball knee pads. I bought gray dye with them because they come white. Put them in the gray dye, they come out looking like this. They are shortened up a little, so I stitched the inside so that, they are supposed to be shortened up, and they are supposed to have a black patch on them here. So it's kind of got it there. So they're gray. They're volleyball knee pads. The original company that did make them went out of business, but actually I ordered them from the guy. There's a delay with the order, and he emailed me. So sorry about the delay. So you're a Ghostbuster or a volleyball player? So I guess this guy was used to getting all his orders. So you can just slide those on, the elbow pad, the knee pads on your elbows. In my opinion, I really think the Ghostbusters should have knee pads. I don't know. That's just me. I think that would be very useful there. Good, looking better. Another other thing we're going to add on here, we have the chemical gloves. Okay, you can wear them, get super sweaty when you wear them. These, it took me a while to find these. Do you have any good sources on like the real chemical gloves?
If you have old chemical plant near your neighborhood,
move immediately.
You've got problems. But before you leave, see if you can score an extra couple of gloves. Yeah. But in other cases, eBay will sell you chemical gloves like this.
Yeah.
You can look on industrial websites. Usually you will have to buy them in bulk if you do so, but they are out there.
Yeah.
Basic rubber gloves.
A lot of Army surplus places have them as well. but a lot of them they're actually these particular ones here. And when you get them, they usually come packaged with a small little white glove. Almost looks like a Michael Jackson type glove thing. And I guess that's supposed to prevent your hand from stinking like plastic, rubber.
Yeah.
But those
these don't
actually
have
do work.
those.
No. So, and then they usually just kind of hang off the belt there.
Unless you're wearing them.
Unless you're wearing them. So you can wear them. Well, we hang them off the belt.
Hang 'em
Okay,
off?
yeah, so they'll get all sweaty there. So just tuck them in with the thing kind of hanging over. That being said, you can go to the dollar store and like just black like dish gloves kind of thing. Those work fantastic as well. All right. So this is a great stopping point. This is a good, maybe not the belt gizmo, but right here you got the belt, you got the key fobs, you got the gloves, you got the elbow pads. That's a great start. And if you're looking to start, Ghostbuster cosplay, this is the great, uniform. This is where you want to be, and that's a good place to start. I'm going to get a little more into some of the advanced stuff now. The belt gizmo is often one of the last pieces people add because nobody's like, what is that? Like the question, did you guys just make that up and put it on there? Because it's not something that people notice a whole lot. We do have next the PKE. This is the Matty Collector PKE, which is fantastic. I believe it's $79, works really, really great, and was the first kind of prop Ghostbuster item they had come out with. To holster it, there's a couple different options you can get. Some people sell holsters for them online. This is for a tape measure. For construction purposes, put your tape measure in there, hang it off your tool belt, and fits beautifully there. Latches it right in. It's almost like it was made for it. So we'll stick that on your belt here. And get that one on. You can take it out, explore it if you would like.
Although, when you go in Toronto and ask for the paranormal investigation equipment selection, be prepared for a few odd looks.
That explains everything.
So the PKE itself, like I said, was $79 from Matty. If you can get it Canada side, one of the vendors down there for like $100 or $110, that's not a bad deal by the time you get shipping and duty, very possibly get dinged with that. It might be worthwhile to buy it on this side. Just don't spend $300 on it on eBay or something.
Unless we're selling it to you.
Yeah, unless we're selling, because then it goes
Then
to
buy
charity.
Yeah, it's all going for a good cause.
Yeah.
Us.
Our charitable things that we work with. All right, are there any questions so far? Because we're gonna kind of get a little more advanced coming up next. Anything that you want to know about what I've talked about?
Okay. Okay. One. Okay. I guess it's my turn. So, next up, we're going to start talking about, well, you know what, let's get to the big, meaty question. Let's get to the pack, right? Because everybody wants to talk about the pack. After that, we're going to talk about some of the other smaller bits of electronics, some of the traps, some of the goggles, some of the other little bits and bobs that we have to make us look this awesome. But, let's go to the pack first, all right? Your standard proton pack is an assembly of usually a variety of different materials. Fiberglass, resin. They're making a lot of them with a lot of aluminum these days, right? It really depends on one thing, well, two things really. One, how much money do you have and are willing to part with? And two, how much weight do you want it to have? How real do you want it to be, okay? Because unfortunately, these two things really work in opposite directions. The less money you have to throw at this, the less real it is going to look. The more money you have, the more real it will end up looking. Some of these parts have not been in production since the 80s, and they really weren't that popular in the 80s. And they have not become more easy to find in the now 30 years since then. But they are out there. There are websites, there are companies that sell you almost all of these. The trick is, of course, knowing which ones to go to, all right? Now, this one is my pack. It has a fiberglass shell. The fiberglass has a aluminum coating under it that's been electroplated to it, which means, in layman's terms, that when it gets scratched, it looks like there's aluminum under it, right? You will notice during this entire presentation, we tend to go to the Star Trek route in that we will throw you a very complicated, technical sounding thing, and then we will try to boil it down to a really simple analogy. Like filling a water balloon full of too much water. See how that works. All right. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the history of this, how this was made, and that is spare parts in a prop lab when the movie was first made. It was literally a very unplanned thing. They basically went to their prop guy and said, look, it's got to look good and like someone kind of made it from scratch. And that's when they came up with these. All right? Now, the whole thing is based off of an Alice frame. That's a retired military types of frame that the U.S. Army has. These, everywhere. eBay, Amazon, you can get these almost anywhere these days. You're probably going to spend between 50 and 70 bucks on it. All right? So, let's get you suited up, shall we? So, you're going to put your arm through there?
It's
Come on, give her a hand.
I'll cinch it up and pull the cords.
So then these straps here, just pull them back and it tightens like that.
So how many
Pretty
people
easy to
does it
fasten.
take to dress a Ghostbuster?
And there was a reason why you see, like near the end of the movie, how they were actually helping each other put them on. They actually needed to help each other put them on. It wasn't in the script.
Good. How you feel? I still feel good, Barley. That's good to hear. Any questions? Anything you'd like to say or know before we get going? No, you can do whatever you like. All right, perfect. All right, how's it feel? How's it feel?
Heavy.
It feels heavy? Yeah, it does. These tend to be about 35 to 50 pounds, depending on what you are making it out of. And I know, conceptually in your minds, that seems like, whatever. I get orders from Tim's that weigh more than that. But when you are wearing it on your back, especially for long hours, it does start to grate on you. It is a very trying thing at times. But yeah, it's not bad, right? All right, so next let's draw the stick. So, Neutrona wand, right? Go on, press up on that. All right. With it. Oh, ye of little faith. We're not banging rocks up here. We know what we're doing. All right. So, lights and sounds. Basic electronical work. Speak English, be good. Basic electrical work in one of these packs. All right. You'll have a light. These days, they are streamlining a lot of it into basic kits. Stuff that a lot of people with only a very little amount of knowledge can do. In the olden days, back when many of you weren't born and dinosaurs ruled the earth, it was stuff you had to do a lot of yourself. You had to figure out what the resistor and what the capacitors and what everything needed to be. These days, more or less you can go online and find a kit that will give you basically everything, and all you need to do is buy the surplus. All right? So, if you press this button, hold it down.
You want to be moved to the back right now?
Yeah. Don't worry, I've got the safety on it. Just don't press that button. Don't press the button. Good God, woman, you'll endanger us all. All right, now, for mine, hold it down. Oh, there you go. Working. There we go. As the bar meter drops, she'll actually start to sputter. And it's a little hard to show, but the back cyclotron, the lights, turn around. The back cyclotron and the power cell actually start to speed up as it gets drained. All right? This is a high-end kit. This one is a little bit more expensive. It has a little bit more of the bells and whistles. It is all able to be run off a single 12-volt battery. That is something I valued when I was putting it together. It is by no means the only way to go about things. It's cool, isn't it? You press the button.
Wasn't that the scene where they were like catching Slimer in the hall and they didn't know what he was gonna look like, and then they came in and saw him all goofy looking?
Oh, well. All right. All right. Are there any questions about the pack? Any questions about the pack, the construction, the
There's
maintenance?
got to be a question about the pack.
Come on, no one, don't
There
lie.
has to be a question.
All right, I'm going to get you, then I'll get you, okay?
Now, when you say that you're high-end, it was expensive, define expensive.
Define expensive. It's enough to get you to a very warm destination on a vacation, perhaps not enough to get you back.
Well, the company that makes this particular kit is called Hyperdyne Labs. And this kit here, again, depending on what kind of stuff you want to get with it, how many things you want included with the kit, but you're looking between probably $600 and $1,000 for an entire kit. And that also comes with like a motor, like a small motor that is inside the handle. So when you actually press the fire button, you actually feel the vibration of the gun.
I have actually mounted my speaker on the back board of this. So when I turn it on, I actually feel the pack rumble. It is one of those little things that no one but me notices, and I giggle like a schoolgirl every single time. The group actually was really worried about me until I told them that, because every time I put on the pack and turn it on, it's like, and it's not easy to do that with 50 extra pounds on your back, but I was committed. All right, I'm going to get you, then I'm going to get you, sir, okay? And then you're next. So you had a question?
You said it. It's the cost. That was it.
Okay.
Okay.
Are those like the tube thingies that suck up the ghosts?
The
or-
tube thing? No. Well, in the parlance of the ghostbusting world, the basic ecto-containment system is the sap 'em, cap 'em, and trap 'em. All right? You hit them with the particle thrower to drain them of PKE energy. You capture them with the capture beam from the gun, and then you trap them with one of the traps. All right? In other words, that means shoot them and then put them in a box. See, that's the Star Trek thing again.
How inclusive are the kits, and then what sort of things can you do outside of the kits to save
It really depends. Well, it depends on obviously on your ability, your electrical engineering knowledge, and the kit. There are basic kits that are lights and basic sounds. There are kits that are a little bit more expansive. Almost every kit will have basic lights, all right? Because the LEDs more or less are the easiest part of it. A simple sequencer and a couple of standards, right? The amount of sound depends on the amount of juice you're going to be putting into it and what kind of amp you want to run it, which basically means if you want to get a kit amp, $10, $15, $20 from say Al, you can run a really good speaker from it. If you want to rattle windows and deafen the neighbors and make everyone hate you in the room, you're going to be spending a little bit more because you're going to need more juice. You're going to need a bigger amp. I have a car amp in there that will allow me to run off a 12-volt battery. It's a car battery. It's a small car battery, but it's a car battery. All right. Other questions?
So you're talking of the kits about the internal parts like electronics and stuff. What about the external parts like the hoses,
The hoses?
ribbon cables, the
For that,
tubes?
well, ribbon cables, depends on the ribbon cable. The second movie used Spectra cables, and those are really widely available for $10. It's really fairly simple. The first movie had custom-laid cabling, and they actually used a combination of phone cable and basic red, blue, whatever cables that they custom laminated and used in the packs. Those you're going to spend $50. Because it's a custom thing and it's not made for anything else but Ghostbusters. It's that old situation where, like the original lightsabers in Star Wars were made from the flash bulbs of old cameras. To a camera enthusiast, that stick is worth $10, brand new, perfect condition. To a Star Wars enthusiast, it could be beaten up and still worth hundreds, right? It's the case of no one else is going to use that cabling, so they know you will buy it, so they will charge you more. But are you good with it? You okay? If it gets too much, you let us know. It's okay. No, she wants to live the dream for just a little bit longer. Other bits from the external of the pack can be found. Some of them simply, like this is split loom tubing. It's available almost anywhere. Canadian Tire, almost anywhere. Pneumatic tubing, again, you can get those fairly easily, but some of the external parts are custom orders. For example, the Clippards. All right, Clippard still makes these. You can get these. You can also get resin copies that are cheaper, right? Some of the other externals, thank you. Some of the other externals are basic. Some are, again, when you are ordering online, most places will offer you either a complete kit, a selection of parts, resin or aluminum, or you can start talking into making your own. If you want to make your own, there are plans out there on the interwebs where they have every measurement, every dimension. All you have to do is follow them. You could literally take them to a machine shop and say, these, and here is my wallet. Goodbye, baby. But they are out there. It really depends on the level of involvement you want to have with it and the amount of money and time you're willing to spend on it. Again, that two separate poles of authenticity and money.
Yeah.
Any other questions? I answered that.
Yeah.
Riley,
And you're next, and then you.
You're saying your pack has a 12-volt battery. Is there other types of batteries you can use?
Absolutely. I used a simple nickel battery because it was readily available, it holds a good charge, and it's easy to recharge with very little danger. Most lithium-ion batteries, which are what are in cell phones and large electronic devices these days, will hold a bigger charge, but they're also very careful. You have to be very careful when you're charging them because they do have an explosive potential. That is part of the reason that you can't get them shipped over the border, right?
I've tried.
Shh, it's on camera!
That's what makes it so much better.
But it really depends on again, what you're looking for and what you can get out of it. And for most people, the simple alkaline batteries will be enough. For some others, it might be a little bit more. You might want a little bit more juice. How you doing?
Take it off.
Yes, you can. All right, we're going to undo this.
And just going back to what Bradley was saying about the
And I'm
ribbon
going to pull
cable,
this off.
like
that
the
go?
difference between the GB1 and GB2, the one on this particular pack here is the closest to like the first movie one. Once he gets a chance to turn
Alright.
it around for you. I'll give you a hand here.
There we go.
Hey, teamwork.
So turn it
No,
around here.
stay up, stay up.
Yeah.
I'll go ahead. Yep, go ahead. Finish your
Yeah,
thought.
so if you look at Briley's pack here, this is more or less what the GB1 cable looks like. How it's got like the different colors. And the GB2 cable is a lot like this one here. And
Yeah.
like he was saying, this one is a lot cheaper and a lot easier to come by.
Details, if you want to spend the money, you will have them. If you do not, maybe you don't need them. I promised him and then him, and now I'll come back to you. And then I swear we have to move on with it.
Is the casing coming in the kits, or is that something people are doing themselves?
The outside fiberglass casing.
Yeah, pretty much like the whole shell.
The shells are either sold separately or they can come with a kit. Shells can either be made out of fiberglass or resin. There has been some talk of aluminum, but it's a very large aluminum thing to do. Not every machine shop has enough to take a slab of aluminum and turn it into that. So it's probably something that's going to be a while away. For your weight to strength ratio, fiberglass is probably your best option. There's some pulled plastic as well, just vacuum formed plastic that's easily the cheapest, and it's all right. It's durable. It's about a CD case, if you remember what CDs are. But it is plastic. It'll melt in heat. It'll crack if you put a lot of pressure on it, that kind of thing.
Can handle the weight.
Oh yeah, I had a pulled plastic on that when I was younger, less gray. But yeah, they're out there. Again, it depends on how much you want to spend, where you're looking. All right.
Have you tested it in the rain yet?
Yes.
Yes.
Couple of parades.
Yes.
We've had a couple of outdoor events like that, and mine so far is still running. I'm very happy with it. I was very, very careful about mounting the electronics in there so that little rainwater wouldn't get on it.
That's what
One
rain
important
ponchos
thing
are
about
for.
the rain, actually, and it actually helps a lot, was with the labels, a lot of people worry about, obviously if these get wet, they start to run or the labels get damaged. We actually had our labels made of vinyl, and that actually helps a lot. It repels the water, and you won't see.
Most printing places will do that if you
Yeah.
ask.
And it's very cheap. Like I had them made for like $5.
All right. All right. Any other questions before we move on? You had one more.
Sure. So, essentially, you would end up with a fiberglass
Shell.
The backpack straps, and then you end up buying all the other bits to put on it.
You would buy the other bits to put on it. It helps with shipping and the odd shape of it.
Yeah.
But yeah, you would end up doing that.
from my end of things, who is someone who is incapable of doing those sorts of things, well, I could, but it wouldn't be as good as I wanted it to be. My pack, which is not up here, but if you want to swing by the booth, I can show you my pack. I paid $16.50 for my pack. The guy who makes it now sells it for $18.50. That's light, sound, the whole gear. You can make it yourself for much cheaper. I've seen them on. There's one guy who consistently sells them on Etsy for about $9. Again, I've never seen one up close. I don't know for sure, and I don't have the eye that these two kind of do. And this was before I was with the Ontario Ghostbusters. It was kind of like I went through this thing where I'm like, I want to be a Ghostbuster, and then I kind of started. I'm like, holy cow, there's an Ontario Ghostbusters. Yes. So a lot of people go the other way, but I started that way.
For me, it was a little different. I had been talking about doing a proton pack for years. After building other people's props, and finally my best friend said, "Bradley, shut up and do it, or shut up." and I did it, and it was great. All right, we should move on a little bit, and then we'll have questions at the end. So if you have more questions, just remember, and we'll keep
Being
going.
very patient, thank you.
So much. We go on. So next is the traps. All right. Can I start with yours? All right. Basic trap. Look at that. All right. Once again, with the traps, we are coming into almost something of a renaissance with these. These are more readily available now than almost ever before. Maddie has put out a couple of traps, much like the PKE meters, of varying qualities. Some of them are really good. They will hang, they will look very nice, they will have lights and sounds and the doors open and all of that. But they are also plastic. And if you want something that's a little bit more real, you're going to have to look into making it yourself. Thank you very much.
So we meant to grab a Matty trap up here. All these are props. They're not. We don't have a Matty one up here. But again, swing by our booth, and then you can kind of see them side by side.
So, a basics. Yeah, that's how you know it's real. Ah, well.
Hold on here for a second. I'm just going to put a trap on your belt here, just to kind of show them. Just step forward there.
So, the traps are made of two parts: the pedal, which is actually a converted foot pedal from a guitar setup, and the actual box. All right. For the box, if you are looking to make your own, again, there are kits for the body that will have everything. You're probably looking to spend about $300 to $600 on that. Sometimes it's aluminum, sometimes it's resin. That would be the difference between $300 and $600. The kits that will come with this are a little bit more electrically intensive than the packs, just because of the comparative rarity of people who want to make a trap that fully opens, closes, lights, sound, than the people who want to make a fully working pack.
Just one thing, just before, I was going to clip this on just to kind of show you just how it hangs and whatnot. And one neat little additional feature is you can get some that can actually slide right out. So it's like more movie authentic as you load it in, you go put another one and away you go. So that was a nice bonus feature. Again, this is one I purchased from eBay, from a seller, and I really like that feature for authenticity. Not that anyone ever actually sees it, but I know it's there.
It's the rumble on the back of the pack.
Yeah.
No one knows it's there but you, and you'll giggle like a schoolgirl every single time.
Again, once it clips on, very important that you strap it in and that you have the V-clip really well attached. As you notice, mine's a little smashed up here because my V-clip wasn't really attached, and I didn't have this on, and kagoom! So that's
And his heart broke a little bit that day.
A little bit.
All right. Do you have any more you'd like to add on?
And with the trap, this is our basic stun trap, and this is the one that we usually wear around a lot on the belts and stuff. This one here can take a bit more punishment. I've dropped it. I've taken out drywall with it.
In
I've
my
done quite a few
house.
things with it. Yeah, and it's still going strong. And it's got a basic light kit in it, which are pretty well available.
Are you right?
At first I did. I'll be honest, but yeah. Yeah, and this one here, it's got like the metal side plating, which is really cool too, instead of like the resin. But like Bradley was saying, it all depends on what you want to spend. And when you're looking at the hose for the trap, you can start out with your basic air hose couplings. You can find these at Brafasco. I don't know if Canadian Tire carries them. I got them at Brafasco. The actual hose, this is a fuel line hose. And I got this at, believe it or not, I got it at Rona. And but you can get them at car part suppliers. And if you don't want to go this route with the actual fuel line hose, you can go with the other type hose that we have there, which is it's
another split loom.
yeah, but it's a smaller size split loom, which is a lot cheaper and probably easier to get to feed the wire through. But yeah, that's basically.
All right, so now we're coming to some of the lesser known, lesser done props, the ecto goggles. All right, in the movie, these were basically a German night vision goggle set that had stickers put on, and that was the big change. They actually had two different focal lenses, but those both came with a model of night vision goggles that they were using. All they did was put one on and not the other one. That was it, right? But because this is actually military hardware, it can be a little hard to get the actual night vision goggles, and unless you feel like blowing out your retinas, don't actually get night vision goggles unless you know how to use them. But Maddie has come out with a couple of goggles, a version of this for a reasonable amount of money. There are resin kits out there, but those will take a little bit more engineering knowledge to put together. Okay? Feel like putting them on?
Take off my hat.
It's up to you. You leave on your hat? It's a whole cross thing. TARDIS and Ghostbusters. I could get behind it. How's that? Is good? All right, and finally, our last table prop is the slime thrower from the second movie. All right? This, along with a lot of stuff in the second movie, was all custom made for the movie because they had money for the movie on that one. Go figure. All right? It's all made out of spun steel, spun aluminum, and it's expensive for that. This is easily one of the most expensive and least done props in all of the Ghostbusters universe. But if you have mastered the proton pack, if you've blown through the trap, if you are making goggles left and right like John Woo's doves, you might be looking into this. All right. Once again, there are plans out there for this, so it's not like you're reinventing the wheel. And there are electronics kits out there, so it is even a little bit easier than that. But easily speaking, you are looking for the most labor-intensive work you can do, both in terms of your wiring and your electrical, and in terms of your basic fabrication. All right?
We actually had to get an entire unit, like the tanks, everything. We had to get it ready for a show that we were doing. Briley and I built an entire slime blower in 3 days. And we put in hours and not a lot of sleep.
We slept so much, and it was the best sleep ever.
He spent the night in my garage.
Asleep.
Which was actually an upgrade for where he usually lives.
There was heat. It was awesome. I was warm for a bit.
So we've got her outfit here. I think we need to give her a little bit of a break here.
Yeah.
So let's give her a big round of applause. We'll get the suit there, and please make sure you swing by our table. We'll get you some treats for helping us out there. So that was greatly appreciated there.
All right, so we have 20 more minutes left in the panel while the boys are helping her out of this. Question time. All right, open questions.
Yeah, you guys have all kinds of traps there from like the first movie to the second movie. Have any of you ever built an extreme Ghostbusters trap or?
I've cooked up some plans for it, but it's one of those things that keeps getting put on the back burner. Thank you very much. Another round of applause. A lot of the extreme Ghostbuster stuff tends to get put on the back burner because those are personal projects rather than, okay, the group needs X, right? Partially because we focus more on the movies than the cartoon series. There has been some talk about doing a couple of cartoon packs and traps and so on and so forth, especially because for a lot of people, that's what they know from childhood. I had a trap, I had a pack, I had one of these, and it looked like that, and that's how I remember things. And it's one of those things where if we are going to do it, we want to do it together. We want to do it as a full group because it would look really silly if, we're in blue, tan, pink. And all the equipment looks similar except for pink. and it stands out a little bit. It stands out a little bit, and it begs questions. And no doubt you have people who will recognize it and appreciate it and love it for what it is. But at the same time, it looks a little less professional than what we'd like to usually come across, right? So it's one of those things that's a little bit more of a commitment. It's out there and it's possible. It's just not something we've committed to yet as a full group.
Yeah, I was just curious, because I've seen some of them online. I think
Yep.
the German Ghostbusters do a lot of it.
Yep.
And I wondered if any of you guys have gotten into it.
Not yet. Again, we have a couple of kind of half-started, half-finished plans for it, and molds for them. One day, I'm sure, we'll get there. Other questions? Yes, sir.
Have you ever done like one of the big painting from Ghostbusters too? Have you
At our
ever made
booth.
one of those?
We have one at our booth.
Right now.
Oh,
Come on by.
that one.
Yeah, one. Don't look into his eyes.
Vigo.
So much trouble. Question, sorry, go ahead.
Do you have a good place to go for the coveralls?
For the coverall, for the overalls?
Yeah.
Army Navy deals, online, very reasonable rates, very reasonable coveralls. It really kind of depends on the amount of authenticity you like. The ones that we're wearing and that Cam's wearing are from there. Really, really good deal, not very expensive, look really nice. They're not exactly right to what was used in the film.
Yeah,
Because
what
these
is-
are stock made stuff versus actual military grade coveralls. If you want actual military grade coveralls, you're probably going to look to around the $150 mark, right? And that's before you add anything in. So, Army Navy deals is probably your best start. If not that, eBay.
And they're a Canadian site too, so
Yeah.
the shipping is
So
very
shipping is,
reasonable.
reasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is there a reason you guys deviate from like tan color?
From why we're doing the blue today? Well, we flipped a coin. Usually at conventions, usually at conventions, if you have the option of going one or two, then what will happen is we say, okay, Friday we'll do khakis, and Saturday we'll do blues, and then Sunday we'll do whatever. Again, to help promote that uniformity, it's not something we enforce. Like, you must be in blue, and if you don't have blue flight suit, you will be thrown out and tarred and feathered. It's one of those things where, look, we want to promote a more uniform look, but if you don't have it, as long as you have one of the standards, you are so fine, as much as we would like you to have, right? But that's the reason why we're in blue and Cam's in tan. All right?
Question, is the flight suit of a certain age? Like, were they using, because I know that the Navy went through a couple of different iterations of the flight suit.
Most of the changes haven't been all as big as wouldn't be so big that they would be obvious, so they will work just fine. And again, eBay for this, because they are selling off the flight suits of the 80s and 90s because they just mass produced them, right? Of course, as time goes on, they get a little harder to find, but still, it's not as hard to get as some of the other bits. For the second movie, they actually had the flight suits custom made, and the company that did that is still around, and you can still get them made. They will still make you the exact same flight suit they made for the movie.
Yeah.
You will spend $300 on it, but you will have the pride of saying you are wearing the exact same flight suit. And to be fair, in this group, you will have a lot of people going, well, now I've got to spend $300. But yeah, it's one of those things about how much you want to spend and what is valuable to you on it.
Yeah.
But for certain, it is out there. There are the option, right?
Now, we may have dashed some of your hopes a little bit when we're talking about big money, spending, holy cow, these things are expensive. However, there is
And they are.
And they are. They're, it's an expensive hobby. However, there is a very cheap, very simple way to get a proton pack.
These days.
Until the end of August. The Ontario Ghostbusters are running a proton pack raffle to benefit Sick Kids Hospital. So, if you're like, I don't want to invest, if you want to invest maybe $10 to buy a ticket, $20 to buy 3 tickets, or $50 to buy 10 tickets, you can swing by our booth, and all those proceeds are going to help Sick Kids Foundation. We're doing the draw and the Sunday of Fan Expo. So,
Can you tell he said that before? Does it sound a little well rehearsed? I guarantee you guys, even if you spend $50 or $100 and get a proton pack, you will still be getting the most cost-effective pack in the world.
And even if you don't, you just gave $100 to a sick kid's hospital, so
You have to feel good about yourself.
It's a win-win situation.
Yeah.
We're just about out of time here. Any final questions?
And then you're next.
How does somebody get involved with the Ontario Ghostbusters if they want to join your cause? It's
Get us
a great
coffee.
cause, by the way.
So much coffee.
So much coffee.
Your first step would be to go online. We are going to have a charter of what we're about, what the basic requirements are. Check it out. See if we are a match for what you expect to do with us. And if then it is, contact us. Come to us at a convention. Contact us on Facebook. Let us know. And we will respond in kind, right?
And we're not necessarily a closed group, but we're always welcoming, and maybe we'll start out with a one day '80s toy show, just to see, kind of try things out, kind of thing, before we move on to 4 days at Fan Expo kind of thing, with you working at the table and whatnot. And that's the thing, is it is not, we're here primarily as entertainment for the guests. We're part of the costuming community. We're a loss leader for these conventions. We don't have to pay to be here. We're part of the attraction, so we have to make sure that we're putting on a great show for the guests. And so that's one of the big focuses of that.
If we're not entertaining, if we're driving folks away, then we will be in trouble.
Yeah, it's not just about getting into a con for free kind of thing. And if that's why you want to join, then yeah. All right. Oh, we're getting the axe. So please swing by our table.
If you have more questions, come by the table and ask, and we'll have as much time as we can to answer them. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed. Thank you very much.